You know something I remembered when I was the darkness of mankind's fears, that dark presence whom you all call the devil, before I was born into this flesh box, was the day when mankind invented the gun. Now I remember that I supported at first this invention of destruction, but soon after it was made I began to realize that it took away the aspect of conflict in war that I used to enjoy. Their emotional drive and quality of man I had come to admire about them when in the heat of battle, bloodlust coursing through them, that purely carnal instinct that made man the most vicious creature on the face of the earth, was gone. This tool of death eliminated those qualities and left warfare feeling like a limp noodle, and I became completely unsatisfied with the aspect of man going to war, because I gained no thrill from it, only more burden, more damned souls to tend to. All work and no play makes the devil feel like war has just become a dead fuck, like asking a hooker for passion.
and only name. Evil, in his mind there is no other game. When your name is evil, bad is good, or so you think, but you're so very wrong. It's evil, but being wrong is right, so then you're good again, which is the evilest thing of all. Do you find his subtle ways invite you? Does he excite you? If his contradictions should attract you, should he distract you? Heaven help you then, you're finished, it's the end. There'll be no retrieval from the evil. The evil he will do. He's evil, he's Dr. Evil. His name is evil.
Okay, I shall go over the Hopi prophecies here and highlight what parts I can fulfill with the skills and abilities I possess, and I may highlight references within my videos to support these claims. I look forward to working with the Hopi tribe. Native Americans are reputed to be very spiritually based, so I will not need to take extra effort to explain or reveal profound enlightenment in order to gain their acceptance of me. In fact, I anticipate that by the time their elders are ready to meet with me, I will need to prove nothing to them. They'll already have the proof they need, and I shall most likely only need to answer some questions of curiosity. So no need for any great miracles in the skies to succeed in accomplishing my goal here, which leaves me more time to incorporate their knowledge they have been holding on to for so long. Just for those interested in what I plan to use this knowledge for, I plan to adapt the cycles and chain of events that occurred and combine it with current geological data to map out a course of safety, much like their ancestors did, and micromanage the severity of each disaster to provide a method of survival, equipment that may be needed, and even research any prototype projects that may be adjusted to provide support for those seeking refuge from what may come. I will not keep this project I'm working on a secret from any culture, and will provide a complete global review of possible scenarios to expect and how to avoid as many casualties as possible. Also, for those listening, take note that they are expecting one who comes as many, so they are seeking more than just me but all of us. That makes me so efficient in my tasks I undertake. So let us focus on the Hopi and their issues and handle what problems we see. We are skilled and capable of achieving success and bring some blessings to these people who await us. For they have seen that we shall be their people's salvation from what greatly drives them into suffering. I have not yet assured myself that I am this entity they call the Great Spirit, but it is possible, and I shall explain why as I go. However, there is conflicting information that leads me to believe I may possibly be the one, that is to show if the two brothers do not appear as planned, the one who will come bringing storms in his wake. We shall see, for I also fit the role of the elder brother of Hopi as well.
We Hopi believe that the human race has passed through 3 different worlds and lifeways since the beginning. At the end of each prior world, human life has been purified or punished by the Great Spirit Masud, due mainly to corruption, greed, and turning away from the Great Spirit's teachings. The last great destruction was the flood, which destroyed all but a few faithful ones who received a permission from the Great Spirit to live with him in this new land. The Great Spirit said, "It is up to you, if you are willing to live my poor, humble, and simple life way. It is hard, but if you agree to live according to my teachings and instructions, if you never lose faith in the life I shall give you, you may come and live with me." The Hopi and all who were saved from the great flood made a sacred covenant with the Great Spirit at that time. We Hopi made an oath that we will never turn away from him. For us the Creator's laws never change or break down. To the Hopi the Great Spirit is all-powerful. He appeared to the first people as a man and talked with them in the beginning of the creation of this world. He taught us how to live, to worship, where to go and what food to carry, gave us seeds to plant and harvest. He gave us a set of sacred stone tablets into which he breathed all teachings in order to safeguard his land and life. In these stone tablets were made instructions and prophecies and warnings. This was done with the help of Spider-Woman. Before the Great Spirit went into hiding, he and Spider-Woman put before the leaders of the different groups of people many colors and sizes of corn for them to choose their food in this world. The Hopi was the last to pick. The Hopi then chose the smallest ear of corn. Then Maso said, "You have shown me you are wise and humble. For this reason you will be called Hopi, people of peace." It was to Spider-Woman's 2 grandsons the sacred stone tablets were given. These 2 brothers were instructed to carry them to a place the Great Spirit had instructed them. The older brother was to go immediately to the east, to the rising sun, and upon reaching his destination was instructed to immediately start to look for his younger brother who shall remain in the land of the Great Spirit. The older brother's mission when he returned was to help his younger brother, Hopi, bring about peace, brotherhood and everlasting life. Hopi, the younger brother, was instructed to cover all land and mark it well with footprints and sacred markings to claim this land for the Creator and peace on earth. We established our ceremonials and sacred shrines to hold this world in balance in accordance with our first promise to the Creator.
1. Author's note: so your people began during the time of the Second Kingdom, for this is the 6th kingdom we are entering now, apart from my own knowledge of this, which I shall give an account of here, and we can compare notes to sift through any changes that may have been made by others in a time of weakness. Hint, hint, there is also geological data that supports this, as they have recorded 5 prior great cleansings or global cataclysmic events that wiped nearly all the life from the earth. That is just geological data. But as far as the misunderstanding, I have found that the whole pact with fallen angels upon a mountain was all written and designed by survivors who were angry with God for allowing such a horrific fate to fall upon them, forgetting that he had tried to warn them beforehand of the second cataclysm that occurred 75,000 years ago. 3 events occurred in progression, one after another, that eliminated most of the life on the surface and dwindled the human population down to about 3,000 people, worldwide. Then for 1,000 years after this event the surface air was unbreathable due to the Great Mountain's eruption along with the chain volcanoes of the Pacific Rim, that were on the surface at that time, as was the kingdom of the enemy long ago that your people disappeared just before battle, the battle against the forces of the Necromancer Lord, Malik, that lay beyond the great mountain to the east, whose fortress lay nestled between 2 of the 9 mountains that now lay at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. That war was about 300 million years ago and ended, with Malik and his entire kingdom sinking into the sea, along with most of the surface. Let me walk you through a short explanation of what may have been the cause behind this particular event that we faced once and now again. 300 million years ago there was a supernova, a star not far from here exploded. It was located here on this map. As the solar system began to pass through the remnant particles of this event, the residual solar material of that supernova caused an adverse reaction to the very particles around us, destabilizing the continental shelves, scorching every green thing upon the surface, and causing what can best be described to what occurred in the movie 2012. I do not believe it could have been an asteroid that caused this mass exodus, because the consistency of their incineration says that all the life was destroyed in flames almost instantly, that a wall of fire swept across the surface in about 45 minutes. Asteroid impacts would not play out like that. If one struck with that severe of an effect, then it would crack the earth like an egg, and it would have to be made completely of metal, something that would not burn up in entering our atmosphere. Before all these disasters and solar flares began, I remember them saying that we were passing through the remnant region of that supernova, and I even remember them saying we were heading straight into it. That, I believe, is the source behind these great cleansings, or at least this one and the one that ended your people's kingdom long ago. It takes a long time to orbit completely around the galaxy. So their time frames fit. 2. Author's note: that is not quite accurate. Those who came before us had fallen to debauchery, hedonism, and, well, to put it plainly, just about everything that mankind has become today. Now this comes from a memory that occurred while I was in a coma and within the time of your ancestors. While God had explained to me the plan and reason he was going to wipe the earth of the old kingdom and his decree of the Nephilim children being abominations, he had shown me visions of their deeds that had caused his decision. From the time of your forefathers as their heroes and guardians to the time of King Henry II and the war of the British royal family and their conspiracies to take the throne of their father, all the things that was to be done by their children, summed up to nothing but a long history of holding dominion over mankind and consuming their lives filled with suffering and despair. That because of this and that all who were upon the earth at that time no longer held him as their creator anymore. They drove out whatever light was within them of him and then placed themselves in his place in their hearts. So he no longer recognized them, and that was his reasons for allowing the flood to wipe the earth of all and start from scratch with the ones Noah's tale had mentioned as a template to restart mankind with, which by your people's account, would be them. Those of the old kingdom relished in their lifestyles and vices, they denounced their understanding of him because of his consistent absence and lack of being there when they called upon him for serious matters. He would always send one of his holy warriors to answer their cry for help. It got so bad that they just began calling upon the heroes instead of calling upon him, mainly because it got quicker and better results mostly. This turned their hearts from him and the symbol of morality, the world's symbol of what they believed in when it came to a higher power, changed from him to his holy warriors. These holy warriors were those who had died and were full of valor and honor, qualities or the potential to do and achieve great things. He would take these types who had recently died, empower them with whatever was needed to guide them towards their highest potential and then send them back to their bodies where they would survive their deaths and tell of their experience in the twilight of death and the power and purpose they had been sent back for, something the Hebrews have always referred to as the Nephilim, heroes that had been given a second chance at life and given a task to achieve. This is why, after the flood, idolatry made him angry, because when he came to warn them of the coming cataclysm no one would listen to him and sought to call upon the Nephilim instead of him when the disasters began occurring. Come to think of it, I believe it may have been your forefathers who did not deny his warning, for their shamans had the same visions of the disasters that he was warning them about, which led to their elders deciding to begin planning their migration and why they survived the flood, but at this point I am not sure, only speculating.
Tales from the realm of the infernal dominion.
good things come to those who wait. But the things I hear are there just to remind me. Every dog will have his day. The spirits, they intoxicate me. I watch them infiltrate my soul. They tried to say it's too late for me. Tell my guns I'm coming home. I swear I'm gonna live forever. Tell my maker he can wait. I'm riding somewhere south of heaven, headed back to Santa Fe. It's Judgment Day in Santa Fe. Once I was promised absolution. There's only one solution for my sins. You gotta face your ghost and know no illusion.